Shalom, all praise, honor, and glory and fear to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and lead our nation, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that's striving for salvation during these electrifying times. Your sincere Akim that's out here that stands strong, being grounded, rooted and grounded, and have that strong foundation. So I want to do a quick video. What you see here on the screen is the front of a church, Grace Cumberland Presbyterian Church. Now, 9 times out of 10, this is probably an Edomite church. But you Jakes that are caught up in these harder houses at these church houses, you have that same belief system too. It says God has no favorites, and these people really believe this. They believe that the Most High, He's not a separatist, that He's for all, and He doesn't have any favorites. Even you Israelites believe this. You Israelites out here, that you're walking around as God's chosen people, and you don't even know that you're God's chosen people. You don't believe that He has favorites when you're the favorites, but you allow other people to push lies and stuff. They put it out there in these churches when you're holding on to the book yourself. If you get in the scriptures and read the scriptures, this would not even be possible to be said if the people were in the scriptures. I mean, it's plain. It's not like it's a parable, or a dark saying, or something you got to have just this deep, spiritual connection that the Most High reveals what it really is talking about. It's not like when you read a scripture and you have to understand when the scripture says mountains, it's talking about governments. When it says seas, it's talking about it's talking about people, or trees, it's talking about people. You don't have to have that deep understanding to understand that the Most High speaks in parabolic form, or dark sayings, or in mysteries, or He speaks in like metaphorically speaking. You to basically discern what is being said. It's plain and clear, and we're gonna go over those scriptures today. Just anyone with an elementary type education can read it and understand it clearly, what it's saying, what it's talking about. But I want to bring this out, show this, because we're gonna prove this to be wrong, that He does have favorites. Because if the Most High was any other nations out here was going through the things that Israelites go through, our people have been surviving and been struggling and surviving and maintaining and moving on, they wouldn't be a nation anymore. Because other nations aren't as strong as the Most High's chosen people. That's what the scriptures tell you when you read in Genesis, the account with Jacob and Esau. They tell you that Jacob was stronger. Our people are stronger than these other nations. And that's why we continue on going on. Other nations, they kill themselves if they went through just a fraction of things that Israelites go through. But we're going to get into it. This first scripture is Jeremiah 31:1. And we're going to be proving that the Most High, that He has a chosen people, and that only His people can be saved. Only Israelites can be saved. He's the God of Israel, and Israel only. This is Jeremiah 31:1. It says, "At the same time, saith the Lord, will I be the God of all the families of Israel?" And all the families of Israel is made up of 12 tribes. Each tribe represents a family of the nation of Israel. "And they shall be my people." That's ownership right there. It's progressive pronoun. He's taking ownership of these people, of the families of Israel. And nowhere in this passage right here is if it's saying anything about any other nation. And that's a key point to these scriptures that I'm going to be reading. At any point in time, if the Most High had changed His mind and broke up His chosen people and added on other nations, or other nations became equal to His chosen people, and they're all of Him, they're all His, He could have added it in at any time. And that's a challenge to you churchgoers. All you churchgoers and all you people that don't believe, in the true doctrine and the truth about the scriptures, bring out the scriptures that says that He opened it up to all, that all people are His chosen people. Where are those scriptures at? Verse 2, "Thus saith the Lord, The people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness. Who was in the wilderness? Even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. The Lord had appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love, therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. Again I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin of Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with thy tabrets, and shalt go forth in the dances of them that make merry. And this is going to happen in the kingdom. This is what we're going to be enjoying in the kingdom, and that's when the other nations, you're going to know that there's only one chosen people. But when the way you don't live. See, everybody, even Esau, when you're in power right now, you're not living. When we get in the kingdom, that's going to be true living. You people are going to understand how much he loves. It says right here, it says, the Lord had appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee. You're going to see how much he loves his chosen people. You're going to see how much he loves Israel when we get in the kingdom with an everlasting love, which is why he didn't finish the nation off. The curses were set forth to destroy us, but it didn't destroy us from to completely, meaning we wouldn't be a nation anymore. Because if he done what he do to us, to any other nation, that nation be finished. It says, therefore, loving kindness have I drawn thee. So the Most High is dealing with his chosen people. That's it. Now let's see how you feel about other nations. It says, behold, the other nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he had taken up the so like behold, he had taken up the isles as a very little thing. So if you got a bucket and it's filled to the top, it's filled to the brim, and you start to carry that bucket, and as you carrying it, you taking steps and it's swinging back and forth. Any type of water that come out the top of that bucket and fall on the ground, you don't skip a beat. You don't stop and trip. Like, oh, I just dropped some of the water out. The bulk of the water is still in the bucket. You don't care about the little bit that fell out. And then it also says a small dust of the balance. So when you have a scale and you have a balance, a scale measure, and you got some flour on it, and you're trying to measure, then after you get what you want, then you take the flour off of the you know off the measure of the balance. That dust that's left there, you don't care about that. What you care about, the bulk of it, the majority of it that you got off of it. Because in Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beast thereof sufficient to sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him as less than nothing and vanity. So all the other nations, you just here, like you're vanity to the Most High. You don't count. He doesn't count you. It's all about Israel. And then at this point in time, in the Most High's um, motion picture, what life is to us is a motion picture to him. And he's the director, he's the producer. He says cut and action. He's the Most High. He loves theater. He loves the show. And in his show, right now, he has Esau in power. You know, and he's gonna enjoy taking Esau down. And then raising up his people. This is Isaiah 45 and 17. Now I'm gonna repeat this again, reiterate this again. At any point in time, the Most High could have added, as he's showing Israel so much love in these scriptures, and I got tons more. I just wanted to pick a handful of these that we're gonna bring out in this lesson. But at any moment in time, he can add any other nation. He didn't have to add all nations. He could have just, let's say, okay, I got Israel. Israel's my that's my chosen people. But you know what? Esau too. Edom, the nation of Edom, yeah, they're my people too. The Moabites. Yeah, you know, the Cushites. Yeah, he could have named several other nations that could have been his chosen people too. Why does he only mention Israel? And at no point where he says all nations or some nations. It's just always Israel. It says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So that's clear. Like I said, elementary educate someone with an elementary education can read this and understand what it says. It says, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. There's no trickery to that. There's no, he's not he's not being subliminal with it. He's being clear, straightforward and clear. So this is Romans 11 and 26. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So that mirrors, it's like it mirrors exactly what was written in Isaiah 45:17. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. That everlasting went on right into the New Testament, and Paul said it himself. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written. And this is the 11th chapter. If you know anything about the scriptures, Romans, the 11th chapter, goes into the Israelite foreigners. It goes into the Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites, but they're part of the covenant. So they get part of the they're part of the adoption or the inheritance of the covenant. They're part of it, so they take part of it. So they're gonna be saved, all of them. This is Second Ezra 6:54, and it says, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Who is that? Now, why would that say there? Why would it be? Why would it have a need to say is chosen? So we're gonna expand it. Actually, let me go back. So the chosen is the nation of Israel. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. We getting into it now. We're getting into who this was for. The showing of why he has a chosen people and what they receive, what's supposed to be for them. So I'm going to read that again. It says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. We're currently not ruling. It's currently not, the world is not in our hands. The scriptures say in Job 9:24, the earth was given to the hands of the wicked. Why is that? Because we as a nation of Israel have been a disobedient nation. We haven't been right, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments as we were supposed to, which were handed down to us by Moses. As the nation of Israel, have been very, very, very wicked. We've been disobedient. We've been committing iniquity as a nation, as a whole. And then the scriptures tell you that if we be this way, all these curses are gonna come upon us. Verse 56. It says, as for the other people which also come of Adam, all the other nations, 17 other nations. There's 18 nations on the earth, one chosen, the other 17 aren't chosen. Those are the other people. Thou hast said that they are nothing. Wait a minute, hold up. So Ezra's saying that they are nothing. When you go back into Isaiah says the same thing, that they're nothing. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. See, the scriptures all line up, man. It all is the scriptures. When you read it, like I said, beginning of the video. These churchgoers, man, it's already proven. I've already proven that he has favorites. And I'm not even done with the lesson. So this is off. And anybody with this mindset, anybody that follows this, anybody that follows the churches, you're off. He has favorites. Said in the beginning. And we're getting into it now. You're nothing. The other nations are nothing. It says, as for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle. Now that's low. That's low. Like spit on the ground. Who gives a hell about spit on the ground? You see people. You walk around and you see gum on the ground. It's been there for forever, and you know it used to be a piece of gum that it's got stepped on and rolled over and all that, and it's embedded into the ground. Nobody care about that. You got gum that's stuck in the ground so much you can't even get it up. It says, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. The same, the same, the same thing I was speaking about earlier about if you're carrying a vessel or a bucket of water, whatever falls out that drops out of that bucket, you don't give a damn about. It says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathens are every nation that is not the nation of Israel, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us. At this point, you Edomites, you're in power, you're lording over God's chosen people right now. And to devour us, and you have been devouring us, and you continue to devour us. You haven't stopped the devouring. Once you begun to devour us, you've been devouring us ever since. It says, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. That's why we serve slavery under you. That's why we continue to be punished up under your rulership. Black people don't get a fair shake on anything. Brown people don't get a fair shake on anything. So you know that the black people, I'm talking about you Israelites, and then you northern with the Southern Kingdom, and the Northern Kingdom are you Latinos, Native American, and Seminole Indians. You're God's chosen people. You don't get a fair shake. If the world now be made for our sake, why do we not possess an inheritance? Why? Because our inheritance is on hold, because we're serving our punishment, the judgment of the Most High for us being disobedient unto Him. We have to wait for our kingdom to come, and we have to be punished. We have to be put in these conditions to serve out our slavery sentence and to serve out our punishment from the Heavenly Father. It says, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? It's going to endure until Yahushua comes back. When Yahushua comes back and take this man out of the rulership position that he's been granted, because you're nothing to the Most High. You're a base man. You're viler than the earth. The Most High, what the Most High did was we set the Most High's we set the Most High on fire and pissed him off so much that he took the lowest of the earth and set him up on high over us and to rule over us. The basis of man, when you read him Job goes into it. You were viler than the earth. He didn't want to let his dogs anywhere near you because you sleep with his dogs, and this is what you do today. You sleep with the animals. The bestialities come straight from your hand. You're the one that's pushing that wickedness in the earth. So the Most High set you, what you was the worst of all nations, and put you on at the top right now. You're ruling right now. But then he's gonna send his son, which would be looked at if when he is seen as a so-called black man, a so-called African American, a so-called Negro from the tribe of Judah. When he comes, you're done. That's it. It's a wrap on that. You're gonna go down right back to where you were before you got in power, which was at the lowest on the earth. You're gonna get back in that position, your rightful position. This is Deuteronomy 32:8. It says, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So this is a perfect position right here. Yeah, somewhere in this verse, he could have, the Most High could have had all nations there, or any other nations beside Israel. But no, he placed Israel in this position. We were the ones that he set according to the bounds, according to the number of the children of Israel, the 12 tribes. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So he could have placed it right there, but no, he didn't. So this shit right here, these are scriptures that you ain't gonna hear in this house because they're pushing this God has no favorites when he clearly does. Because at this point right here, for the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance, proves that he has a favorite, and you're not part of his favorite. But this next scripture right here, if you don't get it after this next scripture, then you're just not gonna get it. Like you're below an elementary level education. And the word educate means to draw out. So you can't. This can't be drawn out of you. You can't get it. You can't. It won't be brought up out of you. Matter of fact, um, let's look up that word right quick. So okay, and it says to bring up, to train, to bring up, rear, educate, bring out, draw out, bring out. Basically, what it means for it to be brought out of you. To bring out or to draw from within. That's what educate means. It's being brought like the apostles. You know, I always use them as an example because the scriptures tell you this knowledge has always been within us. There was a block on it, and the Most High opens up your mind. So when you listen to the apostles, when they bring out the truth, it's brought out of them, and it brings out the understanding to us. We are being educated because what we once knew within us is being brought up out of us. They're bringing it out of us within our spirit. That's why we understand it. And matter of fact, let me get a quick scripture, then I'm gonna read the last scripture, and then we'll bring the lesson to a close. All right, I believe it's this is John 10:27. It says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow." How do they follow? When they hear the voice, they hear what's already within them. Because why? Because they're his sheep. They're the chosen ones. They're the elect. The hopeful elect are the only ones who's going to get this word, going to get this understanding and know this truth, because it's embedded within their spirit to know it. The Most High has chosen them from the beginning, and since He's chosen them from the beginning, it's all inside our spirits. Lord willing, we're the hopeful elect, and we say that out of humility, out of being humble, and because the Most High could do whatever He wants to do. We don't know who's the chosen elect is, but we have that faith and belief that we are. For one, we're doing exactly what the hopeful elect should be doing, and we heard the voice. When the Most High set up the men to bring out this truth, we heard that voice. So which means that, quite essentially, those who have come into this truth, you've heard that voice. You're part of the sheep. If you endure to the end, then if you endure to the end, you may be called and chosen. So I'm gonna get this last scripture. All right, this is Sirach 33 and verse 7. I'm gonna start at verse 7. It says, why doth one day excel another? when as all do when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun. So how is one day better than the next? How can one day be excelled over another day when all days, are lit up by the sun? How can one day be a better day than the other day? By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. So you have seasons and feasts. You have times that are better times, like better seasons, right? Like a fair season, or in season is when you have fair weather, when the weather is good, the sun is out and nice, the temperature is good. It's comfortable, it's good, and you have good weather. That's a good that's in season. Out of season when the weather is bad. You got snow, rain, thundering, lightning, bad conditions outside that you don't want to be in. You don't want to be out there in those conditions. That's out of season. So one season better than another season. But then you have some people that like those out of season weather. It just depends on that person. But the Most High have placed these seasons in conditions that pleases Him, and He made some better than others. So that right there is also proven that He has favorites. You know, in which you have certain times of the day as a peak time of a day, and then you have a downside of a time of a day. You know, so back at verse 8, it says, I'm Salaki 9. It says, some of them had he made high days, high holy days, and hallowed them, and some of them had he made ordinary days, just regular days. So it's clearly telling he deemed some days as high holy days, and those days are hallowed. Those are special days, and then some days are just ordinary days. And this is a comparison to his chosen people being a high holy day, and then the other nations are just an ordinary day. They don't measure up to a high holy day, a day that's hallowed. It says, and all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. We just went into that in 2nd Ezra 6 chapter 54 verse. We all come of Adam, and it tells you. Matter of fact, we're going to go back into it really quick. It says, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also of whom thou hast chosen. All men are, verse 10, all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. In much knowledge of the Lord had divided them, and made their ways diverse. We just went into that in Deuteronomy 32 and 8. We go back to it right quick. It was all right. Back in Deuteronomy 32 and 8, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So back over here in Sirach, verse 11, in much knowledge the Lord, which means he took much knowledge was put to making this decision that the Most High made, choosing his chosen people. In much knowledge the Lord had divided them. Divided who? The nations, their inheritance. Just went over that. And made their ways diverse, meaning that they're different. There are differences between the people. Some of them had he blessed and exalted, and some of them had he sanctified and set near himself, the nation of Israel. And some of them had he cursed and brought low and turned out of their place, the other nations, primarily you Edomites, the so-called white man, because you were the lowest of the low. You were the base Man, you were the base people. You were viler than the earth, and you were in these Caucasus Mountains in the cage in Caucasus Mountains in Georgia, Russia, and you weren't even speaking a real language. You were speaking like ogres, like you were speaking like you couldn't be understood. This is where you came from. You were the lower of lows. That was the curse of you being the wicked. But the Most High used you to punish His chosen. It says, as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it as his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, which we are all. It wasn't of our doing. We're the we're the clay. The Most High is the potter, and what He does with His hands is what He creates, and what He does. He can make who He want to be His chosen people. He can make who He want to be the wicked, and He can make whoever the other nations the position He want them to be in. It says to render to them as liketh Him best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. And that's how it's been. It's been that way. Esau, you're the sinner. You're the wicked. The nation of Israel, starting with his elect, you are the godly. And not all of Israel is the godly, but we're talking about those who serve the Most High. It's known as the 1/3 and the elect. 2/3, you're going to receive the same treatment that the sinner does. Esau, the wicked. But when we come back in the kingdom, that's why it says this. Romans 11:26, and all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, which is Yahushua, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So with that, we'll bring this lesson to a close. It's clear that this is false, that this is off. It's not right. He has a chosen, the Most High has a chosen everything. He has a chosen animal. He has a chosen flower. He has a chosen, he has a chosen tree. He has a chosen fruit. He has a chosen meal. He is chosen meat or food. Everything is has its proper order and perspective. And the perspective of him not having the favorites is totally off. It's totally off. He has favored men. The Most High has favored men amongst His favorite nation against His chosen people. He has a favorite upon His favorites. So the nation of Israel is His favorite, and the elect is the favorite of His nation, of His favorite nation. So when He comes back, when Yahushua comes back, He's going to show you who His favorites are, because He's only going to save the elect. With that, I say all praise, honor, and glory and fear to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who live well, who rule well. Ba'Shem Arakakodash, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect striving for salvation during these electrifying times. Shalom.